Good early afternoon. We are live and we're glad to be back. We've been gone. And I use that we as in an us. And so we've all been gone. But we're glad to be back. And I'm Andy Andrews here with the Blue Plate Special. And we have a very interesting show for you today. Terry Rowland, how are you doing? Says, hey Andy and everyone, we got sunshine in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know, Terry is our resident Boomer Sooner, and I guess you do have sunshine in Oklahoma. Here in Alabama, we don't have any sunshine. So it's not a good Saturday. Sandy Atkins, hello, happy Tuesday from El Salvador. And he says, go Gators. It's great to have college football back, woohoo. You know, gosh, I'm glad you're enjoying college football in El Salvador. In Alabama, we didn't really enjoy it. Now, the Auburn people enjoyed it. And we have allowed them to be a part of Alabama. So I guess somebody in Alabama enjoyed something. Heather Olson, you shared in Utah. Thank you. And everybody as well. And Wanda Parsons, hello. We've got a show we're going to just go ahead and get to. This is an idea that I had over the weekend because somebody turned down a food offering that I had. I offered them something and they said, nah, And I said, what, not exciting enough for you? And they said, well, I just eat them all the time. So I thought, well, what would we have to do to excite you? Maybe change the name. Because there's a lot of exaggeration going on in the fancier menus of America. I really think that, when you can eat a salad one place for $3.95 and you can eat a salad one place for $18.95. I mean, lettuce is lettuce, really. And so what are they doing? And I think a lot of it is in the language. So if you owned a restaurant, how would you name and describe common foods so that you could charge a lot more money for it on your menu? And then at the other end of it, if you're sitting with your grandmother and you said, hey, we can get this, what would your grandmother say it was? All right, so we got 20 of them and a bonus. And I'll give you the food name. And then if you still hadn't got it, I'm going to give you the menu description. And then Grandma will tell you exactly what it is. All right? How about artesian sourdough melted fromage? You got it? How about golden seared dairy fermentation layered between twin slices of handcrafted sourdough kissed by an open flame? Your grandma would say, well, honey, it's just a grilled cheese. Bread, butter, cheese, slap it in the pan till it's brown. Don't overthink it. Now, did we do that in the right order? Should we do the name and then what Grandma says it is and then the menu? I think we will do that because that will make it more, I think it'll make it funnier to read to hear the fancy name after you know what it is. So you got to guess with the title on the menu. Then we'll do what Grandmama wants to call it. Then we'll do the thing. Is that cool, Matt? Okay, all right. How about handcrafted sausage in brioche? Your grandma would say, that's a hot dog, sugar. weenie in a bun. Squirt some ketchup on it if you fancy. Okay, but in my restaurant, we're going to call it an artisanal sausage link nestled in a warm, elongated brioche, finished with a drizzle of heirloom tomato puree and tangy mustard emulsion. Yeah, that's a hot dog, sugar. How about the farm-to-table beef medallion deluxe? Any idea? Well, Grandma says, darling, that's a hamburger. Just a ground cow on a bun. You want cheese or not? But in my restaurant, we're going to call it a hand-pressed beef medallion crowned with farmstead cheddar and crisp garden botanicals, presented on a freshly baked butter roll. That's how you turn a hamburger into a $24.95 extravaganza. How about velouté of aged cheddar pasta spirals? Grandma says, that's macaroni and cheese. Boxed if I'm tired. Elbows and cheese sauce. End of story. But my story just begins on the menu with curved Durham wheat pasta immersed in a velvety cascade of aged cheddar reduction, oven finished to a golden crust. That's how you make macaroni and cheese worth some money. How about buttermilk-bathed southern fowl? Grandma says, fried chicken, baby. Shake it in flour, toss it in hot grease, crunchy outside, juicy inside. But on my menu, I say buttermilk-bathed poultry cloaked in seasoned flour and fried in bubbling oil until the exterior shatters with each bite. Fried chicken, baby. How about Durham ribbons with herbed beef orbs? You got it? Spaghetti and meatballs. Don't act uppity. It's noodles and hamburger rolled in balls. But on the menu it says, strands of Durham wheat pasta entwined with a slow-simmered San Marzano tomato ragu, crowned with herbed beef orbs. Spaghetti and meatballs. How about albacore salad in pan rustique? That's tuna salad slapped on bread. Smells fishy, tastes good, fills you up. In my world, it is line-caught wild albacore, blended with creamy dressing and crisp vegetables, gently layered on a house-baked wheat boulet. Fish salad, slap it on some bread. All right, sea salted tubers julienne. Grandma says, that's French fries, sweetheart. Just taters cut up and fried. Eat them hot before they get limp. But on the menu we have julienne tubers bathed in shimmering oil, dusted with sea salt crystals and served in a parchment-lined silver chalice. That's how you make your French fries worth $9.95. How about wood-fired flatbread margarita with a cured sausage? Grandma says, pizza with pepperoni. Don't matter how you say it, and it's good cold too. But we would call it a char-kissed flatbread canvas adorned with rich tomato confit, molten mozzarella, and discs of spiced cured meat. Okay, we're about halfway through here of menu items that are created to fool you into paying more money. Menu items in fancy restaurants. and what your grandmother calls them. All right, here we go. Golden buttermilk towers with maple essence. Grandma says, that's pancakes, baby doll. Flapjacks. Stack 'em, drown 'em in syrup, and hush. But on the menu it says, fluffy buttermilk rounds, stacked with precision, lacquered with golden maple essence, and crowned with a pat of churned cream. You see how they do this? Now, you're not buying that at IHOP. At IHOP, you get your pancakes for $5.95. But at Ritz-Carlton, you're going to pay $24.95 for a stack of pancakes. How about eggs a la soft custard cloud? Grandma says, that's scrambled eggs, baby. Crack 'em, whip 'em, fry 'em. Ain't no cloud about it. On the menu at the Ritz-Carlton, it says, free-range ovum, gently whisked and caressed over low heat until forming a delicate custard cloud. Scrambled eggs, baby doll. All right, how about this? Whipped Yukon puree infused with allium. Grandma says that's mashed taters with garlic. Boil them, mash them, butter them. That's it. Velvety whipped Yukon Golds infused with cultured butter and a whisper of roasted garlic essence. Mashed taters, baby. How about, see if you can get this one. Poultry consommé with pasta ribbons. You got that, Sonny? You don't know what it is? Your grandma say, that's chicken noodle soup. Can comes with noodles already. Just heat it up. But if we want to get $19.95 for the chicken noodle soup, what we're going to put on the menu is rustic poultry broth infused with garden aromatics, labeled over ribbons of egg pasta and tender white meat morsels. Now it's worth some money. How about that? All right. How about rustic beef ragu brioche slump? Got it? You know what it is? You know what it is? Do you know what it is? Well, Grandma said that's a sloppy Joe, sugar. Messy sandwich, sauce all over your shirt. But how we're gonna describe it on the menu to make it worth some money is savory beef ragu, spiced and simmered, generously tumbled onto a pillow of brioche, designed to defy etiquette. It's a sloppy Joe, sugar. Now, I love this one. See if you guys get this one. A cornmeal enrobed sausage baton. And Grandma said, that's a corn dog, plain and simple. Fair food on a stick, dip it in mustard. But on the menu, so that you'd have to pay $14.95 for a corn dog, it is described as pork and beef sausage baton, enrobed in a golden cornmeal crust, presented on a rustic wooden spear. How about this one? Heritage pork belly, Solanum and romaine stack. It's a BLT. Bacon, lettuce, tomato. No need to write poetry about it, Grandma says. But our poetry about it says, smoky pork belly strips, fresh heirloom tomatoes, and crisp romaine leaves layered between slices of toasted artisan bread. That's how you turn a BLT into a $24.95 BLT. How about Maize tortilla con carne picada. No? Anybody know? Grandma says that's a beef taco. Meat in the shell falls apart if you ain't careful. But we call it hand-pressed corn tortillas, cradling seasoned ground beef, vibrant pico de gallo, and a cascade of shredded queso fresco. Yeah, you're gonna pay clear $30 for 2 of those. Glazed beef terrine in 4. Grandma says that's meatloaf. Hamburgers squished in a pan. Put ketchup on top if you're gonna be fancy. But on our menu, so that we can get $45 for a lunch portion, we're gonna call it oven-roasted beef terrine, glazed with tomato essence, sliced into hearty medallions and paired with rustic gravy. Whew. All right, how about russet de terre avec cultured cream? Anybody know? You got it? Grandma says that's a baked potato. Cut it open, dump in sour cream and cheese, bacon bits if you're feeling like a rich person. But we're going to call it oven crisped russet, split and dressed with cultured cream, aged cheddar shavings, and smoky cured pork crumbles. Well, there's a $12 baked potato if ever I heard one. How about Glacier Stream Steelhead with coastal citrus reduction? Grandma says, that's grilled fish. Caught it, cooked it, squeezed some lemon on it, and you're done. But so that we can get a premium price for this, we're going to call it ocean harvested salmon fillet, seared over open flame, accented with lemon butter emulsion and seasonal greens. Squeeze some lemon on it and you're done. All right, that's it, except for the bonus one. You ready for the bonus one? If you get the bonus one, you can claim them all. Legume pâté with candied vineyard essence. Anybody know? That's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, darling. Just spread it on your bread and don't drip it on Meemaw's carpet. But how we are going to describe this is essence of pureed nut spread topped with candied grape reduction, served on new bread made from locally sourced wheat. Yeah, man. All right. Well, that's it for today. If you learn how to talk like that, you'll be paid a lot more money per word. Shanda Danner said, what's the most you'd be willing to spend on a great steak? Okay, I got to say, Wanda Parsons says, I work in a restaurant, so I love this. And Shanda, how much would I be willing to pay for a great steak? I think willing is the key word there. Because I've seen steaks on the menu for $149. I saw that recently. Willing. How much would I be willing to pay? I have paid maybe $70 for a steak, but I wasn't willing to pay it. The whole time I was eating that $70 steak, I was thinking, you know, slap a fillet on the Kamado Joe at home and it's better than this. I mean, you know, so I paid $70, but I wasn't willing. Terry Rowland says, I'm hungry now, but I'd be broke ordering from your menu. I know, I would too. I would too. But when you think about it, I mean, we've exaggerated a little bit of this, but that's what they do. That's what they do. I asked Grant Woods, Growing Deer TV, growingdeer.com, and he is a wildlife biologist, and Outdoor Life magazine said, if you don't know who Dr. Grant Woods is, think Bill Nye the Science Guy in a tree stand. That's what they said. Grant Woods is the best. And up at the hunting camp, you know, I see a lot of the older guys shoot these wild hogs, and you know they've got to be taken out. We got to control them some way, but they weren't eating them. You know, they'd just give them away to somebody or drag them into the woods. They're not eating them. And so I asked, you know, I asked him, I said, why don't we eat these? And, you know, their answers was, these things are so nasty, we wouldn't eat these nasty things. And so I kept thinking about it, and I asked Grant, I said, when you kill a wild hog, do you eat it? He said, of course. He said, we cut it into chops, we do the ham, do the shoulder on the grill. He said, we'll grind it into sausage, of course. And I said, well, why are these guys up at the hunting camp, they won't eat it. They just will not eat it. And he says, you need to ask them this. If you were in the fanciest restaurant in New York City, how much would you expect to pay for a slice of free-range organic pork? And boy, you know, because that's what you got. They're out there eating acorns and grass. They're free-range. They're organic. There's no growth hormones being put in them. So sometimes that fancying up does some good, I guess. You know, fancying up how you put it. I guess they did that with sweetbreads, right? Rather than going in and say, you know, what's for breakfast? Sweetbreads. Oh, okay, great. I mean, what's for breakfast? Brains. Yeah, I'll pass. Chitlins. I don't know where chitlins got its name, but it dang sure sounds better than hog guts. You know, something else like that. I know the Patagonian toothfish was renamed Chilean sea bass because evidently nobody wanted to eat a Patagonian toothfish, but everybody sure likes that sea bass that's on the menus now. You know what they call tongue? Like you get it in a deli. You know what they call tongue? Tongue. I don't know why they didn't change that name, because I'm not going to eat somebody's tongue. I mean, it's a calf's tongue. I know that. Okay, but all I'd be thinking about is some poor little calf out in the pasture somewhere going, and then brains, calf's brains. If I'm not going to eat his tongue, I'm sure not going to eat his brains. What's that calf doing? Walking around going, do, 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 do. Might as well cut my tongue out. I can't think of nothing to say. But I like the idea of fancying up our words. So we'll take our leave now until next time. In other words, goodbye. I'll see you soon.